Welcome to AV8AK Alaska. This is my YouTube channel that's dedicated to two basic functions. The first is documenting my build of my T51 Mustang. It's a 3/4 scale P51 Mustang replica. I'm building that down in Austinburg, Ohio at the factory. I go down there every couple of months, spend a week to 2 weeks working on the aircraft, and then come back home. I'm documenting that for people who are interested in building, and then ultimately just as to share the journey that is building aircraft. I was a little hesitant to build my own aircraft, but I have some basic mechanical skills and decided that that's something I want to do, seeing as how I would never actually own a real P51. So that's the first purpose of this channel. The second part of the channel is to share aviation. So I started flying when I was 17 years old and got my license when I turned 17. And flew on and off in various roles and capacities throughout the years, and I've had about a 7 to 8 year hiatus on flying, with finishing my master's degree and life and school and moves and work, and it's time to get back into flying. So started building the aircraft last year in March, and we've been down a couple times, done some builds, but now it's time to take that next step and start working towards knocking some rust off the wings, getting more comfortable and getting back in the plane, start building some time here while I'm building the aircraft. I need to get my tailwheel endorsement. I've got my complex and high performance endorsements already, and a little over 500 hours of flight time, so need to start building some time so that when the plane is done, I'm going to be in a position where I'm comfortable flying and competent to be able to fly safely. My aviation journey began when I was 12 years old. We lived in a small town in Oregon, a small little airport, and for my 12th birthday, my mom and dad had talked to the driver's ed teacher and a shop teacher at my brother's high school and asked him if he would take me up because I'd expressed some interest in flying. My dad had flown a little bit when he was, before he got married, and right when he got married, and never actually completed getting his license. And so they gave me the opportunity, so I went for a flight, and I was hooked. So we flew out to a farm out of town, delivered some mail, and then he let me take the controls and do some flying back as a 12-year-old kid, and that was pretty exciting for me. So from that point on, every summer job I had and every job I had, I put money in the bank. And when I was 16, I flew to Utah where my grandparents lived, and I stayed with my grandparents for a summer and earned my pilot's license. So I would go out to the airport twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening. I was flying a little 152 with my instructor, and we would fly, and then I'd go home and study and practice and work through checklists, sitting in a chair at my grandma's house, trying to master everything as best I could, and then I'd go back and fly in the evenings and afternoons. And so I spent the summer there, earned my license. I turned 17 and earned my license shortly after I was 17, and flew as much as I could when I was able. Didn't have a ton of money as a kid, so that's how my journey to aviation started. I flew pretty infrequently, accrued a few hours every couple of months, and then had a couple of years where I wasn't able to fly, and then I got married and had a wife, and then ultimately stepped back in and started flying. Ended up flying for in my current profession. I work as an Alaska State Trooper, and so I flew out west in Bethel and Nome for about 10 years. Flew 172 and a 206 for the state, and enjoyed that part of my career. And there's times when I'm pretty sad that I actually gave that up. But when I moved here to Anchorage, hung up flying for a while, and then focused on school, got my master's degree, and worked on other parts of my life with my family and other things. Last couple of years, one of the things that came around was the basic med option. Health's been good, haven't had any significant issues, and so went through the basic med process, which was, I won't say easy, but it worked out. I had a good doctor. We went through, looked at all my physical and medical stuff, and so I'm using the basic med option to fly right now. So I'm excited to get back into flying and see where it takes me from there. This part of the channel is going to be documenting some flight activities, so ultimately I've got to kick some rust off the wings, get back in the seat and start flying. So over the last few months, this winter has been kind of a long winter, so I took advantage of that, and I've done a couple of things. So I'll do a couple of reviews on some things that I've steps I've taken. So one of those steps is I ordered and got the Rusty Pilots Kings online videos. I've reviewed those, worked through those. Happy that I remember a lot of the stuff, which was good. Some things have changed in 8 years. There's been some advances like ForeFlight, which is completely foreign to me. So I have a subscription to ForeFlight. I'll talk about how I'm using that. And then I also, there was a Check Ride Prep, which is a website, offered a free ground school online. So I went ahead and went through that course, and I'll give a little bit of feedback on that. It actually was pretty helpful, and all those combined, I'm hoping to do it's not a biennial anymore, which I'm learning. It's now just a flight review. So. We'll do my check ride, hopefully now that the weather's warming up. There's a little more sun in the sky, it's a little warmer. Wasn't super excited about going out and doing it this winter in super crazy cold temperatures. So as the snow continues to melt, we're gaining daylight every day. So the goal is to get back up in the air and do my, my flight review.
All right, have a good one, guys.
Along with following my journey back into the cockpit and getting rid of the rust that's on the wings, my other goal with this channel is to meet some aviators here in Alaska and fly with them, do some interviews, see what they love about flying, and see if we can share some of their experiences and talk about aviation in general, and see if we can share that with people who might be interested. So the editor-in-chief, who is my 16-year-old daughter, has said that I'm supposed to get excited and say, hit the like, subscribe button and follow me on the journey, and that'll help me out with the YouTube algorithms of some sort to help share these videos in the channel with more people. So if you like the content, if you want to watch the build, I encourage you to do that. I'm not by any means a professional. I'm enjoying doing this. It's kind of an uncomfortable thing to start with. Talking on video and recording it and doing some editing gives me some things to do between builds. But also, if you're interested in just flying, seeing some of Alaska, the goal here is to get some videos out there. So just encourage you to like, subscribe, and follow, share the links with your friends. If you're any of my friends, you're seeing these on Facebook, which is where I post a lot of these for people that I know. Do me a favor, go onto YouTube, sign in with your Google account or whatever you do, or your Facebook account. Hit subscribe, add that to the list so that this gets shared with more and more people.